Hello there, morons. My name is Victor. Give me a Flake Man here on YouTube. 23 years ago, I came to Japan, and this is one of the first books I ever bought, Geisha Gangster Neighbor None by Donald Richie. I read this book in the toilet, as I often read books, before my hemorrhoids began acting up. And I was quite impressed. I got to say, I got impressed. I love the way I love the book for a couple of reasons. One of them, it was full of very short little chapters. And, it gives you many senses of completion, You read a little 3 pages and you're like, oh, I finished a chapter. So it's good, it's good organization there. And it gave you a painting of another human being. And that's one of the things that I've enjoyed about Japan, is the characters that live here. And this book is full of characters. My neighbors are in a way characters that I would like to. I think I could write short stories like this about them. And I've often spoken to you on this channel about my neighbors and my feelings towards them and how they've affected my life here, or how they are in my life. The other thing about this guy, Donald Richie, who and this is not a sad video, because although he has just died, I just received an email from one of my subscribers that he's just died, and I'm looking at an article on the New York Times homepage, and I didn't know he was still alive, to be honest. So I'm not pretending to be sad or anything, except reading this article, I'm not sad. I'm proud of this man, because he seemed like a really interesting stand-up person. And he was openly bisexual, and this is something that also I thought was pretty interesting. According to the article, I didn't know that he was bisexual, but he came back to Japan specifically because it was more open to bisexuality and homosexuality than America was in the 1940s and 50s, which is interesting. And because I don't know when it changed, but I do remember, and I've talked about this in videos before, but Japan back in the day, hundreds of years ago, was quite open to homosexuality, and some of the most powerful rulers of this land, some of the most powerful shogun of Japan, had no problem showing their or expressing their man-boy love, while they were also unifying the country. It was just, anyway, it wasn't such a big deal. And some of the toughest guys in Japan were actually would actually go out of their way to, what do I call it, conquer other men, because it seemed like more of a manly thing to do than to conquer a woman. And back in the day, sexual conquests. Well, we still say we still say the expression, right? Sexual conquests. It was much more manly to sexually conquer another man than another woman, which kind of makes sense, because women are physically weaker than men. So anyway, that's kind of interesting about that. The other thing about this was the article. Like I said, I'm just reading this for the first time. Another kind of sad quote was he wrote, in 1992, "It was the most beautiful country I'd ever seen in my life, and now it's just about the ugliest." And he's talking mostly about the industrial landscape of unrestrained public works and American-style commercial development. Wow. Which I understand, because there a lot of Japan is full of like cookie cutter houses and things like that. But the one of the wonderful things about Japan, and this is still true, is that a lot of the old ancient part of Japan still exists here, even in my community. I suppose I live in a cookie cutter house. I don't know who made this house. I mean, we helped design it, I suppose, somewhat, because we bought this house. But this house is just a regular old house. It's nothing special. It's just 3 stories, a bunch of rooms. There's nothing Japanesey about it at all. But in the neighborhood, there are tiny little narrow streets that lead to little temples and shrines, and if you walk down the river, you can still see graves that are hundreds of years old. So that part of Japan still exists. It's still part of our Japan even now. So that was interesting. And then another thing about Donald Richie again, I'm just looking at the article, was that he never tried to be a Japanese citizen. And I've mentioned this on my channel before. A lot of you guys think, oh, I'm a weeaboo, whatever that is, or I'm a Japanophile. But no, I just ended up here, for many different reasons. All the decisions in my past led me to this position of living here in Japan. And I don't think it's anything actually especially special. I don't think I'm special because of it. And I'm not actually that in love with Japan itself, but I do enjoy my life here. I can't say I wouldn't enjoy my life in America, or if I had chosen Thailand or China instead. I think I would have enjoyed my life anywhere. But I have no desire to become a Japanese citizen, and I was kind of reassured, I suppose, by reading that Mr. Richie as well had no desire. He never sought to become a Japanese citizen. And he seemed to revel in his position on the margins of Japanese society, which he wrote offered him a far greater personal freedom than he could ever have had back in Ohio. And, well, I don't know about that. I think I would have been free back in America as well if I had stayed there. I don't think it would have changed anything. But again, I'm not bisexual or homosexual, so maybe that's what they're talking about. He also wrote that I may have rejected the USA where I was born, but I did not decide to become Japanese. That is an impossible decision, since the Japanese prevent it. Rather, I decided to decorate Limbo and become a citizen of this most attractive, intensely democratic republic. So, he didn't become a citizen of Japan. But he became a citizen of this. I don't really understand this. Did he become a citizen? It says he never sought to become a Japanese citizen. I think they're being metaphorical here. But here's what's interesting. Limbo. Japan. A lot of people have said in the past and in other videos and in blogs that Japan is a kind of not a real world. It's like a Disney world. It's not the real world. But I've always thought that's such arrogant bullshit, because believe me, life is here. There's still, just because you live in Japan doesn't mean it's a dream world at all. But I suppose a limbo is a good word for it. Yeah. Anyway, very interesting. If you don't know this guy's work, I definitely recommend him. Go check him out. This is the only book I've actually read. Apparently he has he's written 40 books, so I'd go and check him out. Anyway, he's dead now, and which is a shame, because there are a lot of in the pissing wars of Gaijin here, claiming Japan as their own. I suppose I would be on the fringes of that. There are a lot of people out there now who I would say are not really, they don't hold a candle to Donald Richie. So, luckily he left us a lot of books. So although he is dead now, he will live on in his books. So go check him out. And thanks to whoever sent me this article. I don't even know who sent it to me. It was just someone just sent me an email with one link, and I got it. So thanks a lot. I appreciate that. And I talked to you guys. Oh, it was Vince. Thank you, Vince. Vince has been sending me a lot of good stuff recently. Thanks. All right, that's all I got for you tonight. I'll talk to you guys later.